Alright YouTube, what is going on? It is ConflctNerd Callum here today, bringing you another episode of our Transport Fever Let's Play. It's been a few days, I've been ill the past week and also had a lot of deadlines for school. Didn't manage my time the best, however I am back to norm. One or two things are going to be changing. I'm going to be uploading this series much more frequently just because I'm really enjoying the shit out of this game, and also I mean, the two videos on this channel have done pretty well, so we might as well continue on with that trait, though this game is just so much fun, it's unreal. So, I have actually played an extra 2 hours of this, but I wasn't happy, and the reason I wasn't happy was because there was a wee bit of just unclarity when I was explaining some stuff, and also the quality wasn't good enough. So, for example, if I open up Line Manager here, I was downscaling it to 720p and that just wasn't good enough. It wasn't showing up, for example, everything in crisp, clear quality, which is really what I want to see, because I want to be able to read all the numbers myself, and I just felt that, you know what, it could be much clearer. So that's basically what I've gone ahead and did. I've upped the quality to 1080p, so we're finally, I mean, I should have been on 1080p from the start, but we're now on 1080p, so hopefully things will be a little bit easier. So I got some really good feedback from the first two episodes. Everyone's loving the series. One thing I do know, which I have been fucking up, is the bus stop situation. I need to put basically bus stops at both sides of the roads for bus stops to really be effective. So that's what we're very quickly going to go ahead and do. Fortunately, I believe the line will readjust itself, which is nice to see. So I need to go ahead and place bus stops around quite a few different places. So the Ryde Wembley line we've just done. This is the Ryde Connect, which have you built? No, you've not. Go ahead and build there. Another bus stop over here, and there should be another one there. And then we need to go all the way over to the other side of the map, and this is what we're going to go ahead and work on today, connecting the two sides of the map. Because over here we have Loughton. This connects up to the surrounding villages on this side of the map, which are Verwood, Schniffnal, and also Royston and Haverhill. They all connect to Loughton, and then over here we have Ryde, which connects to Sale, Wembley, Chesham, Willesden. Thank you to whoever cleared that up. There was someone who commented in the comment section below, and also Philly. So all these places, they're connected to a city, either Ryde or Loughton, but Ryde or Loughton aren't connected, so I can't go from Philly, for example, all the way over to Haverhill, which isn't that a long journey, but there's just no connection. So in today's episode, what we are going to do is go ahead and, I guess, bridge that gap. What we're going to do is we're going to build a railway line from Ryde to Loughton. Now, trains cost a lot of money, and that's what sort of put me off going ahead and building one in the first and second episode. However, we're probably going to end up taking out a loan. However, we do need to address a few different issues first. So as you can see, we've got lots of people waiting at a lot of our bus stations. Ryde, Loughton, Chesham, these all seem to have quite a lot of people waiting at them. So we need to go ahead and, I guess, deploy new buses. What I'm actually going to do is start off by upgrading buses, because at the end of the last episode we actually unlocked new buses. So if we go ahead and have a look at this, set vehicle, so we're going to be upgrading from the post bus up to the Daimler. Now the Daimler can carry 3 extra passengers and also can go at 10 kilometers faster, which doesn't sound drastic, but if it's across like 20 different buses on that one line, then that is going to be what, 20 times 3 is a whopping 60, so it is quite a large capacity, and obviously if everything's running faster, then it is just going to make my whole network run a wee bit more smoother and mean we make more money, which is the end goal. This is going to cost quite a bit of money to upgrade all these lines. We're not going to do them all instantly, that's for sure. We'll do it over time, but hopefully we will be able to do this without too much of a problem, because when you implement new buses, your profitability sort of drops. As you can see, we have a mixture of red and green, and there's a lot of green which could be doing much better. For example, the Ryde Wembley line, if we can get that frequency down to maybe 60 seconds for example, then we can make so much more money. There's just so much money to be made there, and I think we really need to go ahead and tap into it and get a lot of these frequencies a wee bit lower before we go ahead and build the train line. The train line might not even get built this episode. I'd at least like to build the stations and build the foundations. Maybe not get a train running on it on this episode, but we'll just have to wait and see. So let's go ahead and I'm not going to bother about bus colours because it's just a bit too much faffing around, to be honest. I realise, yes, customization, all that sort of good stuff, but at the end of the day, this isn't Club Penguin, and this game for me, it's not about the customization, it's about the management. And that's really what I'm focusing on, so I'm not going to worry too much about bus colours. First thing I'm going to do though is, the frequency of the Ride Sail Wembley line isn't good enough for me. 144 seconds, it was at 3 minutes a second ago. So what I'm literally going to do is buy like 10 buses and just sort this frequency out. We already have a lot of buses on the line, and obviously going ahead and upgrading our buses will help things out as well. But we might as well just go ahead and, for the long term, just add lots more buses in to maximise that dollar. So that's 10 new buses built, which is quite a lot actually. It's cost me like 780,000, which is a fair bit, though I'm sure it will be worth it. This upgrading stage is going to cost a lot actually, so I don't even know how much money we're going to have to be able to build a railway line in this episode. It might be a little bit tight. Frequency's down to 90 seconds though, which is a bit better. I think we're going to go ahead and add some more buses as well, probably onto the Verwood line. Because the frequency isn't high enough for that bus line to make money. The problem is with Verwood is you have Loughton here and it's connecting to Schniffnal. I need to get that right. Schniffnal, Haverhill, and also Royston. And then Verwood's all the way over here. You basically have to go from Loughton all the way up this road, near enough all the way to Royston. And then you need to come down all the way to Verwood. Now Verwood is a decent sized place. It has a population of 360. Royston it's less at 352 and Loughton is 458, so there's a large population to tap into, which we definitely need to go ahead and continue to provide buses down this way. What I am thinking though is possibly I might make alternate roads. That's a possibility. I'm just looking at landscape right now. I'm just looking at the landscape right now though, and there's not too much change in contour actually, so I think this might be a good idea to do. Because it can definitely cut, I would say, quite a few minutes off the journey and in the long run really help things out. So I think that's what I'm going to do. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but if it does work, it will really help life out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and I've not got super fancy country roads yet, which is frustrating. I think I get that about 1925. So what we're going to do is we're just going to build this along here to about there. So that costs 219k. Now this is a difficult bit here. There's like a wee bit of a hill here, which is a bit frustrating. I don't know why you're like that. Sometimes just the road snapping is just not very good. So this is going to be the expensive part. It wants me to build a tunnel, and I don't want to build a tunnel. So we're going to go ahead and raise this up. But I don't want a bridge either. Calm down. So that would cost what? 400? This is actually going to cost a lot more than I thought. You know what? Let's make this nice and cheap for myself. So let's lower you down a wee bit more. That's to that. Oh, why is this all so expensive? I'm just trying to get the cheapest construction price possible, but it's just not happening. So that's 558k. That's probably about the cheapest we are going to get it actually. 536k, we're going to go for it. So that's spent quite a lot of money, but in the long run it should help us on infrastructure. So now we've built that, we need to go ahead and I don't think the bus line will reroute itself. I don't think anyway, so I need to go ahead and check that out. So that is the Loughton to Verwood line. I think it actually has rerouted, which is nice, so the buses will start using that. So the frequency should jump up straight away. It might take a wee bit of time to happen. And what we're going to do is we're going to continue to change the buses as well. Verwood is going to be the next line, I think, which gets the upgrades. Just so it can maximise this new road. So let's set vehicle to the Daimler. Select OK, and yes. Now I'm doing this at 25% because basically the buses will change straight away, because most of these buses should already be at 25% of their lifespan. Then once that is upgraded, I can just turn it off again simply. That's what I'll do. So I'm literally just waiting for, as you can see here, the Ryde Sale Wembley line. It's just over halfway through doing the upgrades, and I'll turn it off once that's done. I do want to go ahead and actually add some additional buses onto the Verwood line, and there is quite a few people actually, I'm pretty sure, here waiting for Verwood. There's 10, which is a bus worth, so we might as well go ahead and get a few more buses on the move on this line. We'll just go ahead and add in, for now we'll add in 2, but I'm going to monitor that line and just see how it does, because I definitely think that line is going to need that little bit more attention just because it's a further distance. Hopefully that road, as you can see, should sort things out. It really doesn't look very pretty on the landscape round about here, especially with that bridge. I think this is our first bridge in the game actually, but it will have to do for the time being. With that done, we've got a lot of people at this bus station. Schniffnal, I'm just going to go ahead and give you some more buses, and I guess we'll continue to just slowly upgrade. So let's go ahead and buy some more road vehicles. We'll buy additional 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll assign you to the Schniffnal line, so off yous go. So that should hopefully help some stuff out. Ideally, if you go straight to the bus station, it'll just clear this backlog of passengers, because there is quite a large backlog. 54 people, you know, it's quite a bit of money we can definitely dip into there. So that number's already going down. It looks like it splits the buses, so 2 buses go to this depot and 2 buses go straight off to the other depot, which is quite a logical thing actually. So hopefully that'll sort that out. So let's go back and look at my finances. A bit all over the place right now, just because of some upgrades are going on. But what we're going to do is, I think we're going to go ahead and start laying the foundations for the railway line. So while we go ahead and construct the railway line, I thought I'd just put all the buses on auto upgrade. Now I realise I only built some buses the last episode, so some of them aren't actually even at 25%. For example, the Haverhill line, those buses are definitely not through 25% of their lifespan. I can't remember how long your lifespan actually is. I'll very quickly just go ahead and check that, and I'll be able to work out some maths. So the post bus, it lasts 30 years, so 25 is only 7.5 years. Some of your lines aren't 7.5 years old. This is 1924, and some of those lines were built as recently as 1920, so it'll take a wee bit of time for all that to upgrade, but the time it takes us to build the train line, it's probably going to take us at least a year, if not longer. So we're going to start off with 1 train, and the main aim is to connect up Ryde, which is here, into the distance to Loughton. So looking at this already, there's an obstacle, there's this hill. So we have a choice, we can either go through it, which from building that bridge, and possibly we could have built a tunnel there, we've learned that that's quite expensive, so we're going to try and avoid that. I'm also going to need to build a bridge anyway to go over the river, so that's unfortunately going to cost us quite a bit of money. But what I'm thinking of doing is, we have 2 choices really. We can go from Ryde here to Chesham to Haverhill over to Loughton, or we can go the other direction and we can go from Ryde to Willesden to Royston to Loughton. So on the basis that I'm thinking the Ryde Chesham Haverhill line would be shorter to Loughton, I think we're going to go for that, and eventually the aim will there be to make a loop. And then eventually we can go ahead and extend this and connect up, because there is a few towns which we haven't connected to. Paisley Bridge, Ferry Lords, just the ones on the outside really, there's a few. So I think there's about 4, and then obviously we still need to tap into resources as well, which we will get to, but right now I just want to get passengers on the move a bit more frequently. So where are we going to build the train stations? We're going to deal with that issue first. So what kind of stations do I want to build? That is one of the real questions. I always get, ooh, we got a new train. Class A3 Flying Scotsman. That'll be really interesting actually. I'd like to build that, however, I've got a feeling that one's going to be pretty expensive. But we'll deal with that at another time. So, train stations. We've got a lot of choices here. What I want is I want a through station at each end. The reason for a through station is just because there's no point in having a dead end at Ryde, because I can definitely go on to, for example, Sale, Wembley, Philly, loads of other places, so I might as well keep the ends open. And I think that Ryde and Wembley are going to be quite big stations, so I'm going to make them like a number of tracks. I'm probably going to have 4. So it does look pretty big, and it is pretty big, but we're going to go ahead and build this for the future. We're going to build catenaries, yes, and we're also going to have high-speed track. Now I realise I can't really get much benefit from high-speed track at this early stage in the game. However, we will go ahead and build it anyway, just because, again, we're building for the future. So let's go ahead and build you there, and that is our first station built. Now I'm going to go ahead and build the corresponding stations along the way. Now Chesham's only going to be a 2-platform station. You're going to be situated here, I think. Here would be a really nice place to go ahead and build you, because we can get probably a bus. It's quite close to the bus station and everything. So might as well, actually we could, I don't really know. I mean, we could build it over this side of town as well, to be fair. I do want to, I mean that's quite close to the bus station though. So what I'm thinking is, I'm actually going to knock this person's house down. We're about to take out a loan, by the way, so don't worry. Everything will be fine. We'll go ahead and build it here, I think. So that means it'll miss out that house, no problem, and just come in along the top of the town. We can go ahead and add probably in a bus stop there. That would make sense. Then Haverhill. Haverhill's an interesting shape. And we're also going to need to work out where the bridge is going to be. So you're coming through at this angle here. So it's going to have to be on this side of town, which is closest to us. What I'm thinking of doing is actually going ahead and just jumping into here, getting a medium street and just going like that, and then building on this, and then we can hopefully go ahead and somehow change the bus line we've maybe got connecting up from Loughton to maybe add an additional station. Or stop, I guess you could say, because there's no point in having a station, it'd be a stop. However, building this train is going to sort of defeat the purpose of upgrading the Haverhill-Loughton line a wee bit too much, just because hopefully people will start to use the train and we'll make money from that. And then the Loughton service, I'm thinking over here is going to be a really good location. Again, we're going to up you to 4 tracks. What I should have done actually is I'm going to extend the platform length a bit, just because I don't want to have to go ahead and upgrade train stations at a later stage where we might as well go ahead and do it now. So let's go ahead and build you. I need to, for some reason, go ahead and bulldoze this road manually. It can't do that for me. We'll go ahead and build you. There's a bit of a terraforming issue here actually, which is a bit frustrating. But I don't think I'm going to be able to deal with that. It's going to cost me 709,000, which is quite a lot. Building it more this way costs less, and at that junction there I think will be the best. So it's going to cost me 517k all in all. But that is the line finally built, and I think that's quite a good location for Loughton. The good thing is about Ryde and Loughton, they have connects, so we can go ahead and alter them. So let's go ahead and start building the line. The line is going to be very difficult to build between Loughton and Haverhill, but bar that, we shouldn't have too many obstacles. But before we do that, why are so many people waiting on? But 129 people are waiting on that line. Are you actually being serious? That line is making a lot of money, which is good to see. However, it's not making... I'm going to deploy more buses. I think it's just because some of the buses are returning to the depot before the new buses come out. I think that's what the issue is there, so hopefully that'll resolve itself relatively soon. It's just a bit silly the way it does it, and the buses aren't rushing back either, but that's a lot of people. I think we are going to go ahead and buy some more buses for that line. I know I just did buy some, but there's so much money to be made there, so we might as well go ahead and assign them. So those 4 buses should hopefully make a little bit of difference. There's just too many, 129. It's just mental, so we need to get those people on the move. Some people waiting there for the Ryde Connect as well. That could possibly get an upgrade, but we're going to have to take out a loan before we do anything else because we are poor. So we started the game with 9 million, that's a loan, so we need to repay that back anyway. As you can see, our expenses in the past few years, we have invested in a lot of stuff, mainly new vehicles. That's probably our biggest expenditure. So we are actually overall making a loss for the past few years, which is kind of unfortunate. But it's good to invest in all this infrastructure because of course it's going to make us the money back. So let's go ahead and basically borrow, I don't know, maybe 5 million for now. The interest I think is fixed at 90,000, which is good, so we don't have to worry about any more than that. 90,000 per year is really not a lot. For a whole year, if it was a month, it'd be a different story, but only 90,000 a year is just nothing, so I'm happy to go ahead and borrow loans, no problem. Alright, so we've borrowed some amount of money, so let's go ahead and get all this railway line built. So it's going to be a single track to start with, just because of the fact that it's only going to be a single train operating on the service straight off the bat, and then over time we'll go ahead and upgrade that. That is for sure. So we're going to go ahead and build you pretty much following the road. The road will upgrade over time, which will be good. However, we could actually go ahead and start manually upgrading some of these roads. However, I don't see the real advantage of that right now. Connecting that to there is a bit too long, so let's go ahead and continue to build. We're going to have a crossroad over here. That's going to cost us 180,000. We could possibly lower that a bit, and that costs us only 131,000, so let's do that. I ideally want to just keep the track though as straight as possible, just so when we have high speed trains, they don't have to slow down at corners, and so far we've got a really straight track, which is good to see. Now what we're going to do is, we're just going to have just a gradual curve around here, like so, and then this last bit will be the more difficult part. Actually, can we move you to about there? Build you. Now this approach, unfortunately, is probably not going to be the prettiest. Very quickly just going to go ahead and get rid of that. And then this part here is going to be... That's a bit of a tight corner, but I guess trains are going to have to stop at this station anyway, so they're not going to be able to pick up too much speeds, and they're coming in to approach the station, so they'll have to slow down anyway, so it's not the worst thing in the world. But that's that first section done, no problemo. We could actually get a train started going between them two, but I don't really see the point just because they're connected by bus. So let's continue on with the building of the line. This next section here is going to cost me quite a bit of money, which I don't like, but it's going to have to do. It only costs, what, 102k to get to there, and then this next part's going to be difficult. We need to work out as well what angle, so we need to take sort of a wide angle. We should really have the contoured lines on for this. So let's go ahead and do that. So that's a lot of money. We can go ahead and surely lower that, can we not? It's just because it's going across the roads. So let's go ahead and build you like that, just a small wee level crossing. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have you curl along here, and then gradually go down the contour lines. Though that is not going down gradually, what the fuck? Supposedly this is the same contour line, however you're doing so much terraforming. Like, what the fuck? You're obviously not the same contour line then. Again, I'm wanting to keep this as straight as possible, so I'm gonna sort of have to build that. I mean, money's not that big of an issue, so I'm not that bothered. But we're starting to curl around now, and will that bring us in line? Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Right, back up a bit here. So we're gonna have quite a sharp corner going around there. It's just the way it's gonna have to be, unfortunately. Over time we can go ahead and work on the railway and straighten it up. At this early stage, I guess it's not that important that we have a straight railway line, so just because the trains are going to be fixed to a certain speed anyway. So let's build you up to there, and let's go ahead and build you coming out here at this side, and let's see how we can get the bridge built. The bridge is probably going to be one of the most challenging parts of this build, that is for sure. I take that back, and it's really not cost me a lot, so that is that section of the line done. This one's much longer, and it weaves quite a bit as well. It's just to get the angle to get into Haverhill, just the way the station is laid out. I could see this corner causing a problem, but we can always work on it over time, and we can always go the other side of this oil refinery as well, and we might even want to go ahead and transport stuff from the oil refinery in the future. So we'll need to take that into consideration as well. Anyway, so the final stage, I guess, or the final section of this line needs to be built. This is going to be the most costly, that's for sure. So we have a hill in the way, which is annoying. So what I'm thinking is following the road up and then swinging into Loughton, because Once we get up the hill, roughly up to this black line in the middle of the screen, it can be quite flat. It's just getting up to there is going to be the really expensive thing, and this is going to be a really steep climb. I really don't want to build a tunnel if I can avoid it, so we'll just have, see, it's going to cause a lot of terraforming issues. It's actually going to want me to build a tunnel there, and I think I might let it build a tunnel. Yeah, fuck it, we're going to go for it. But now it should be pretty level and it should be pretty cheap. So hopefully things won't cost too much. I mean, that's only 95k. And then we're finally coming in to our Loughton station, which is good to see. So hopefully we can go ahead and link this up without any major... Oh, fucking hell. That does cost quite a lot. Lower that down a bit. We can definitely save a wee bit of money. So there we go. So that is a line built. Looks, what is going on here? I think that's just a shadowing, or I'm not really at all sure what that is, that like black border thing. Oh, that's the contour lines. Yeah, there we go. I was just being a bit silly there. That's the line built, so the line is relatively straight going from Ryde to Chesham. Chesham to Haverhill, it's a wee bit all over the place, especially one very, pretty much even greater than 270 degrees. It is a very sharp corner. We'll work on that. And here, it's quite steep coming up to Loughton, but it sort of has to be. I mean, there's a hill in the way, so there's not really much I can do about that unless I want to go ahead and sink the whole town of Loughton or raise the whole town of Haverhill. I think that'd be a bit costly, so we don't really have much alternatives in that department, to be honest. I always seem to get a bit of lag as well when the autosave happens, so, or frame rate issues, so I do apologise about that. Overall, the frame rate's doing not too bad though. But it'll be interesting to see when we get the train and go into like chase camera how it handles it. So what I'm going to do is go ahead now and build the train. So we're going to have basically lines I can imagine running out here at the back. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to have the train depot off just to the side here. So the train depot can just curl around and just be over here, right next to Ryde Station. So let's go ahead and build the train depot, and let's attach it onto the end here. So this is going to be the Ryde depot. We might do a depot at the other end, but I guess trains aren't like buses in the way that you don't have to have depots for each side of the map. Like, trains are much easier in that sense. And we're going to go ahead and buy ourselves the train. But we're actually going to do that in the next episode, because this episode has been a good 30 minutes long, and episodes are going to be long on this game. I can't exactly justify doing a 20-minute episode and then stopping there. I'm going to do long episodes. 30 minutes I would classify probably as about a medium length episode. Very occasionally there'll be an episode less than that, but I really do reckon going forward episodes will be longer in length. Don't worry though, the next episode will be tomorrow thanks to the new way I am uploading this, so I'm sure you can hold your horses and wait till tomorrow to see the next episode and see what train we buy. Anyway, with that done, before we very quickly go, just checking the profitability of all the lines, I can definitely go ahead and start to turn off some of this auto upgrading, because some lines have fortunately already auto upgraded, which is good. Some are getting very close, and it has cost us quite a bit of money, as we did see earlier on in the financial, and I think we're just making profit right now. Though hopefully, as you can see, every line is making money, which is good to see, and it's really good to see how much the Ryde Sale Wembley line is making, that's for sure. It's making us a wonderful amount of money. Anyway, that is all for this video, so thank you very much for watching. Please leave a like rating if you have enjoyed it. If you've got any more tips or comments for me, then go ahead and please do leave them down in the description below. And that's all for this video, so thank you very much for watching. My name is ConflctNerd Callum, and I'm out.